Chris was released from jail on March 27th, 2023, and this video is going to cover what's happened to him since then. It wouldn't be till May 1st of 2023 that Chris is spotted by a member of the public that recognizes Chris and takes pictures of him, and where else but Walmart. So here we have some photos of Chris shopping, just getting some stuff. Here he is in the electronics department, and he does end up buying a Nintendo Switch. By the way, he does buy a Nintendo Switch, okay? Just to get that out there, he does buy a Nintendo Switch. And also note that he is wearing a Silent Shoe medallion during this transaction. And it also should be noted that he doesn't seem to notice that people are taking photos of him in this Walmart situation. This was all reported on the Chris Chan subreddit. On the next day, May 2nd, Chris is also spotted at a card shop called Battlegrounds playing cards. This isn't very eventful, but he is spotted and someone did take a picture of him. And again, he doesn't notice that someone's taking a picture of him, and he is still wearing the Silent Shoe medallion. It did, however, lead the Battlegrounds, the card shop Facebook page to go private. The next sighting is on May 3rd, 2023, outside of a Donato's pizza shop. And this is the first time that Chris is actually aware that people are taking photos of him. And he is caught off guard and is kind of nervous in these photos. He appears nervous and he appears kind of shocked that people are taking photos of him. The next sighting would be later that day. A cashier would note that Chris's medallion is now hidden underneath his clothes, so you can't see it. He's now in incognito mode, apparently, to try to avoid being recognized as Chris Chan. And he is also wearing a hat. And he also signed his name as Chris Jesus Christ, J. Christ, Chris Sonichu. I don't know. I can't explain that, but it's on the screen. Make of it what you will. There it is. It is also noted that Chris apparently smelled terribly. I don't want to describe the smell, but just imagine that Chris smelled terribly, and it was very obviously affecting the other people around him. Now we skip all the way to May 30th. Chris is seen playing Magic the Gathering at a shop called Modern Tabletop Gaming in Chester, a community in eastern Chesterfield County. The next sighting would be on June 7th, 2023. He is seen getting Ben & Jerry's at Williamsburg Premium Outlets in Williamsburg, Virginia, with two women, one of whom is in a wheelchair. So it is all but confirmed that Chris is in a group home, and the group home that people think he is in is the Gateway Houses. And all of these locations are fairly close to the Gateway Houses. So that is where people think Chris is staying. But let's recap what we saw. So we saw Chris, he at the first chance he gets, he buys a Nintendo Switch. So we learned that Chris really hasn't learned anything about money, since he is still getting his government subsidy, his disability check. He still gets that. He hasn't been convicted of a crime, so he still gets his tugboat, as he calls it. So he still gets that money. Again, since he hasn't been convicted of any crime, he still gets that money. And it's been, I guess, accumulating since he's been in jail. And again, I have noticed that he started to hide his Silent Shoe medallion, which is interesting, which is kind of the first sign that Chris has finally realized that it isn't in his best interest to be, photographed all the time. So it is interesting. And I don't think people are following him around or anything. I think people just kind of happen to be going upon their lives and run into Chris Chan, and they take a picture of Chris Chan because it's like, oh my God, there is Chris Chan right in front of me. Why not take a picture? But I don't think people are following him around. So that's pretty much what's going on. He's in a group home. Obviously, he hasn't been posting on the internet, and I would imagine that's because there are restrictions on his internet access in this group home. So I don't really foresee any posts from Chris in the future, in the near future, I mean. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with Chris. This is probably going to be the norm. He's just going to kind of be allowed to do certain things within the rules of this group home, which again, I don't know the exact stipulations and rules that go on in this group home. But yeah, his internet access is probably going to be restricted. There's going to be a curfew, et cetera, et cetera. So Chris is kind of going to be tame for a while, I would imagine. But yeah, that's Chris. I don't think anything wild is going to happen. We'll see what happens going forward with any legal cases. So thanks for watching.